louder when you sing. So we can hear.
Shall be here, shall remain.
Thanks.
I'm forgiven because you were forsaken. I'm accepted, you were condemned, and I'm alive and well. Spirit is within me because you died and rose again. And I'm forgiven because you were forsaken, and I'm accepted, you were condemned, and I'm alive and well. Your spirit is within me because you died and rose again. Amazing love, how can it be? My King would die for me. Amazing love, I know it's true. It's my joy to honor you in all I do. I honor you.
yes, you are my King. Amazing love, how can it be that you, my King, would die for me? Amazing love, I know it's true. It's my joy to honor you. In all I do, I honor you.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. We've been playing a little background music here, but we're about to play something with a little bit of energy here, so just be ready. If the Spirit moves you, you can stand up a little bit and dance.
Everybody has fears. Everybody got worries. Everybody knows sorrow, devastation. We can lay our burdens down. We can lay our burdens heart is my home. My home forever and ever. His heart is my home.
If you love Jesus, clap your hands 2 times. If you love Jesus, clap your hands 2 times. If you love Jesus, stand up. If you love Jesus, sit down. If you love Jesus, stand up. Introduce yourself to the person to your left and to your right. If you love Jesus, these 2 rows, turn and face each other, introduce yourself. These 2 rows, these 2 rows. So you turn around, your people turn around. Does that make sense? Common sense is not always common. Introduce yourselves. You turn around this way. Introduce yourselves. You turn around this way. Introduce yourself to these young men here. You turn around. Introduce yourself. Introduce yourselves. Those guys have no hair. Ladies, turn around. Say hello to these people behind you. Please be seated. Please stand up. Please put your hands above your head. Stretch real high. Lean back. Lean forward. Straight up. Lean over to your left. Lean over to your right. Sit down. Okay, if you love Jesus, clap your hands 2 times. Fantastic. Okay. My name is Father Meyer. Good evening. It's terrible. Please be seated. If you're from someplace that's not Ohio, Indiana, or Kentucky, please stand up. Okay. My dear people, we are getting ready for an amazing night. And everybody right now, if you can take that song sheet. Hey, listen, all eyes up here. Clap your hands 2 times. Silence. All eyes up here. Take that piece of that song sheet, fold it 1 time, and put it in the book. We're going to show you a video about an opportunity for you to take. For the last 3 summers, we have hosted an event here at this very place.
Anxious, hopeless. We thirst for something greater, something true. We yearn for a love that's so intense, it seems nothing can fulfill it. Nothing but God.
And we can't all do all that in one night. It takes more time, takes more relationships. And so I really, really want to encourage you to come to Intense. It is a game changer on a lot of different ways. It's changed a lot of people's lives and brought a lot of people closer to the Lord. So allow tonight to just be an opportunity to do that. Few orientations. Number one, there's not a bathroom in this church building. Okay? There's not a bathroom in this church building. If you have to go to the bathroom, we're going to need you to go out the church down to the Parish Life Center, which is the gymnasium building down that way, okay? There are 2 confessions. Look over here, because there's other issues. I'm not picking, but like, you need to ask yourself, am I in a place to be receptive for 2 hours? Am I sitting next to the person that I'm going to listen to this talk the best to? Am I sitting next to someone that's going to distract me? Those are all like great questions to ask yourself at a moment like this as we're getting ready for this presentation. Many of you have read books by Jason Evert. Some of you have seen podcasts, videos, whatever it might be. Jason Evert. So I'm going to say an opening prayer. I'm going to say a blessing. I'm going to say a prayer and a blessing for our speaker tonight. Surround this church, surround this property with your holy angels. Cast out all evil, all doubt. Cast out all fear.
Thank you, guys. Go on ahead and take a seat. Thank you, guys. To get started, I need a guy volunteer from the audience. I need to go. Oh, wow, we got a lot to do. You're up front. Come on, give him a hand. Come on now. Come on up here. Come on up. Now, what's your name?
My name's Nick.
Nick, good to meet you, Nick. Now, Nick, obviously, you know what tonight's talk is about, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and that is?
Chastity.
Very good. Now, since it's a chastity thing, we got to cover issues like how far is too far to go with the girl on a date, you know, and stuff like that. So what Nick and I are going to do for you, he and I are actually going to show you guys how far is too far to go on a date, okay? So he's excited now. And in order to do this, I'm going to be the guy, Nick's going to be the girl, okay? So now, Nick... So Nick and I says this, no guy is going to go on a date trying to go too far with some girl, but to prove to you, God's got a bigger plan. I was in Boston. I met a guy named Kevin. Fell in love with a girl. They decided to get married. They go to church getting ready for the wedding. The priest is going through their paperwork. And he's like, hey, look at that. You guys got baptized in the same church and you're babies. I'm like, that's cool. I didn't know that. He looked closer. He said, yep. You guys got baptized on the same day in the same church as babies. They went to their parents' foot. Odds up, so you might be sitting right next to your future spouse right now, huh? Yeah. Not everybody. Sorry about that. One spouse per person. Now, I didn't think God. Like, wait a minute. This guy's 12. Okay. He just took a year off a 3-year relationship, meaning the guy was 8 years old in a relationship. Now, some people think, well, that's great and all, but look, I'm not a virgin. Or I had my virginity taken from me. Does that mean I'll have a messed up marriage? If you're like me, man, you're so sick of all the divorce. We were at high school in Washington. After the talk, a junior came up. He said, Jason, I know what you mean about divorce. He said, Jason, my dad, he was like, stop. There's a deeper desire to sacrifice and love. There's tension going on. What I want you girls to realize, if the guys are sound, I know some of you become doctors, you'll learn about this. It's called hematidrosis, which means under extreme stress, capillaries in the skin can rise up, come in contact with sweat glands that burst and you bleed from the pores of your skin. Your whole body becomes a bleeding bruise, and they'd scourge them on it. Scourging means they strip you naked, wrap your arms around a pillar to the back six. I think porn is the best way to shoot your future marriage in the head. Teaching me that you girls are things to be used, and when I get bored with you, I'll go to the next fantasy. Now, high school, we'd laugh it off. We'd be like, I'm not getting anyone pregnant. We're just appreciating women. We laugh it off. Porn was everywhere. Buddies had it. Your friends had it. First porn I ever saw, I was in 2nd grade. We were riding our bikes in the neck into it. My high school, it was everywhere. I'm not making it up. One guy in my high school actually passed out porn from his locker to anyone who would vote for him as senior class vice president. He said, are we just laughing this? Some of the girls in porn aren't even alive. Porn stars have a huge on her, because what are we training ourselves for? It's like when I was in college, I played 3 years of college baseball. And one day I'm in a game, coach yells at me. He's like, Evert, come in. I run the dugout. I'm like, what's going on? Like, you pulling me out of the game? He's like, no, I want you to pitch. I'm like, I don't pitch. He said, no, I saw you in batting practice. You got an arm. I just need you for a couple innings. I'm like, Coach, I didn't even play high school pitching. Like, I don't have the mechanics. He said, you're going to do great. I said, I'm going to look like an idiot. And to get out there, I'm like, what am I going to do? I mean, the crowd's there. Batter digs in. The catcher squats down. And the catcher starts giving me all these signs. You know, you watch baseball, I'll be like, throw a fastball. If you agree that's the right pitch, you throw. But if you disagree with him, shake your head. He'll suggest something else. Do you want to throw a sweeper, curveball, knuckleball, forkball? What do you want? Now, my problem is I don't really have a good fastball. I don't have a reliable curveball. I don't have a knuckleball. I have a baseball. That's what I have. So I'm like, what am I going to do? I said, I know what to do. I'm just going to play mental games with the batter. You know, so the batter digs in, the catcher squats down. He's like, 1. I'm like, no. He's like, 2. I'm like, not number 2. 3, no. 4, no. 5, no. Then he starts laughing at me. He's like running out of fingers at this point. He gets the number 7. I'm like, oh yeah, number 7, whatever that is. And the batter's like, how many pitches does he have? I threw the first pitch. I hit the guy with the first pitch. I hit the batter. But the moral of the story being is if you train yourself for years, you know, lust, and then the day comes to actually love the woman, you can't fake it. Because all you know how to do is take your own pleasure. And unfortunately, there's this huge myth right now that porn is a guy problem. Girls? No, girls would never look at that. Girls struggle with modesty and emotional issues, but never porn. That's not true. Like, I know a girl who struggled with it for years. She said, you know, when you're a guy who looks at porn, she said they all know they're into it. It's like they're in this big prison together. Oh, we're all stuck in porn one day. Well, things I should have said no to. But I thought that that's what I was supposed to be attracted to. I'm just so angry that porn is so loved. And I'm so angry at myself for thinking that it was okay. But like her, a lot of girls start looking out of curiosity. Like, what do I need to look like? What do I need to wear? What do I need to do? But like women, you were never created to be porn. You're created to be loved. And if we can get rid of that junk, we can be free to love. And I don't think you boys are the problem. Don't get me wrong. I think teenage boys are the solution to the problem. I got research back me up. You ever wonder how many high school students having sex? I'm like, everybody's doing it? Well, here's the numbers in the United States. Centers for Disease Control has been tracking this for 30 years. The sexual activity among American high school students in the last 30 years, the rates of sexual activity have been constantly going down. Last year's the lowest they have ever recorded so far. 20% of American high school students are currently sexually active. 30% have ever had sex, meaning most high school students in the country are virgins. And this came out, it's 15 years of research. High school boys' sexual activity is now going down twice as fast as the girls. And people hear that, and they're like, what? That can't be true. That wasn't on Snapchat. Are you sure that's a reliable source you have? But change is going on, but you don't hear about it because nobody talks about it. One guy came up to me and he's like, hey, can we talk? I'm like, yeah, what's going on? He's like, can we talk over there? I'm like, yeah, sure, we go over here. He's like, can we go in the corner? I'm like, all right. I'm in this dark little corner, and I'm like, what's going on with you? He said, I'm a virgin. And I'm like, I thought you were going to tell me you had leprosy. I mean, this is a good thing. More people are choosing it. People are starting over it. In fact, they found 2 out of 3 high school students who have had sex privately admit they wish they waited longer. It was kind of a disappointment. There's a change that's going on. It's happened to girls. This came out a while ago. Vogue magazine says on the cover, naughty versus nice, why showing skin is no longer in. It's a big fashion article showing how modesty is making a comeback. And I'll admit, as a guy, I don't know the pressure you girls are under to look perfect, to eat perfect. My wife was at a toy store. She saw a Barbie doll they came out with. And she's like, ugh, I have to show that to Jason. So she bought me a Barbie doll. And it's for work. And this is what they're giving little girls to play with now, dude. She got fishnet stockings, short skirt, strapless top. I didn't even know girls call these tops. What is this, like a napkin top for you or something? And people complained about it, like Barbie's too skinny, it's not realistic. So you know what the toy company did? They just made her skinnier. So this is what they're giving these little girls to play with now. I mean, look at this thing. Like, this is wrong. Like, look, I'm not some dietitian, but I know something's missing from your diet if your arms come off like that, okay? And girls, you've been told since you've been wearing diapers, behold womanhood. You can be a woman too, all right? So for dinner tonight, you can have a grain of rice. For dessert, an ice cube, but not too many to go to your hips. But as long as you girls will just conform to this, then you're going to find love. And you know it's a joke. You understand it's fake, but I don't think you understand, it's all fake. Cindy Crawford is a swimsuit model, but Revlon makeup thought she was too fat for them. So with computers, they made our arms skinny in their advertisements. Like real womanhood isn't shown to you. It showed these beer commercials telling you your body, it's disgusting. Hate your body, hate yourself. And a girl's desire just to look pretty. You look at some magazine, you think, well, if I look like her, I'm sure I'd be loved too. But girls, think about it. The women in the world who have the most perfect bodies, do they have the most perfect relationships? No, they often have the most messed up ones. Think of the people you know who have the most perfect love. Do they have perfect bodies? No, they're like 80 years old, overweight, and wrinkly. But they have love because the perfect body doesn't get you perfect love. But you see the image and you think, but if I look like that, I'd be loved. And look, it sounds like it makes sense. But what happens is, girls, look, we love you, but we're different than you when it comes to sexuality. We get seduced differently. I think a lot of girls today are getting seduced through their ears like a boy gets seduced through his eyes. Girls often get seduced by what they hear a boy telling them. Oh, baby, I've never felt this way about a girl before. Oh, really? I mean, look at the music they make for girls like Ed Sheeran and Bruno Mars. All the 12-year-old girls go to the concert and they squeal and pass out. But you ever notice historically there have always been like these boy bands for the girls? You ever notice there's no girl bands for the guys? You don't have a bunch of guys going to the concert. Oh, it's Hannah Montana. I'm going to die. Like, doesn't happen. Because we don't get seduced like that. We get seduced through the eyes. Perfect example. I'm eating dinner at a restaurant in Chicago. I walk in the guy's bathroom. As soon as I walk in, there's this huge photograph. 5 women's sexy legs. First thing I thought is, I wonder if I peek in the ladies' room, is there going to be like a massive photo of 5 men's bare legs in the women's bathroom? Probably not. In fact, I think just for fun, we should get something like the senior guys together today. Let's get, after the talk, let's get a photo of your hairy legs. Let's stick it in the girls' bathroom of your school tomorrow. I mean, what would happen when girls walk in? They'd be like, bah! They'd vomit. But why? I mean, aren't the boys cute? Well, they are, but it's different. Look, if a girl doesn't understand the differences, you watch what happens, man. She starts hiking up that skirt, showing off a little belly button. She thinks her outfit's cute. He's not looking at your outfit. If it's her sexual value that brings him to the girl, just look classy. Take the beauty of being a woman, you use that. Teach the boys about your dignity. Because like for me, I didn't know how to treat a girl until I dated one in college who dressed modestly. It's captivating. Like you could take her seriously as a woman. She wasn't trying to make boys stare at her body parts. I mean, she could have dressed like, hey boys, check this out. But the way she dressed is like she's saying, boys, frankly, I'm worth waiting to see. And you will not lift the veil over this body until you lift the veil over my face. I'm telling you, respecting the girl was automatic. Now, you deserve respect no matter what you choose to wear, but you have this God-given power, not only to turn the guy's head, you have the power to change his heart. I saw it in San Antonio. I met this beautiful newlywed couple, deeply in love. When they first met, the girl was all big into chastity. The guy was the total opposite. Mr. Pimp Daddy sleeping around, looking at porn. And when they met, he was infatuated with her. He had never met a girl like this. I mean, the virtue, the character, the class, she had it all. So he starts hitting on her, and she thinks it's a joke because she knows who he is. She's like, oh, now you want to date a girl like me? And he's like, yeah, why not? What's got to happen? She said, 3 things need to happen. And he said, okay, what is it? She said, okay, step number 1, you need to ask my father permission to date me. And he's like, that's kind of old school, but I'll do it. Fine, what's number 2? She said, I want you to read this 500-page book on chastity and the theology of the body. 10 days, he read the whole thing. He said, I did number 2, what's number 3? She said, number 3, okay, you may not kiss me until the day you lift my veil on the altar as my husband. She just wanted to see if he was willing to sacrifice because she would not give away her kisses freely. And he said, okay, sign me up. And he dropped his entire old way of life only to become worthy of this one great woman who's now his bride. Now, girls, I'm not recommending you go off and date Mr. Snoop Dogg hoping you're going to be the Messiah, but the fact is you have power. A question that remains like, what are you going to do with the power? Because look, at the end of the day, you will never convince like some boy of your dignity until you first convince yourself. And here's the proof. We're at a high school in Louisiana. Picture this, a gym filled with 1,400 girls, not a single teenage boy. I said, girls, the boys aren't around, so be honest with me. How many of you girls actually think that if you met a guy today who had self-control, and he was a gentleman, pure in the way he talked about girls and treated them, how many of you think finding the virtue of chastity in a guy nowadays, that would make him undeniably more attractive to you? 1,400 girls put their hands up. I said, okay. Then I went next door to the all guys school, 1,200 boys. I told the fellows the girls said, one guy put his hand up. He said, Jason, I don't believe you. I go, no, I promise. All the girls with their hands up. He said, no, I believe you. He said, what I'm trying to say is like, we don't believe them. I said, why not? And he's like, look, you're telling us that they want us to be all innocent and pure. But they're going to dress like that at our dances? They're going to dance like that at our dances? You're telling me she wants me to treat her like a princess, but they're going to act like that on the weekends? He's like, we don't take them seriously. They don't take themselves seriously. And look, I'll grant you girls, it's hard to find modest outfits. You go to buy your prom dress, everything they sell you now is like low cut, bare belly, bare back, some slit up to your armpit. Like, I know it isn't easy, but girls aren't helpless. And girls are like, but Jason, if you can't be sexy, how can you get his attention? Can you flirt? It depends. Flirting means different things. Like flirting for me. When I was in second grade, if I liked the girl, just throw a rock at her. You know, it's like, oh, dude, she's hot. Oh, you watch, like pop it, like, yeah. Now she likes me. Yeah, she has a concussion. Well, that's her problem, but you know, girls are different. Girls flirt like this. When you girls are in fourth grade, this is how you'd flirt. Don't even act like you did. Fourth grade, you'd see a cute guy, and you'd be like, oh, he's so cute. You get in the huddle with your girlfriends, like a team effort. So, he's cute, what should we do? And they all start plotting about it. And the first girl's like, let's give him a note. Oh, that's brilliant. Get out the paper, you know. Like, do you like my friend Nikki? Yes, no, or maybe. It's like a survey. Then you got to check the box, and he commits. And then what happens, your girls got like sixth grade. Then you get more sophisticated. You see the cute guy. You're like, oh, he's cute. What should we do? Your friend's like, I know. How about when he's leaving class, I'll shove you into him. Oh, that's good. Shove me into him. Yes, yes, yes. Yeah. Some of you apparently still doing this. But you guys, see the girls hitting each other. The reason girls think it's funny is this is what girls talk about when they go to public bathrooms, like 30 of them at a time into the bathroom. Dude, they have couches in there half the time. I was at World Youth Day. I saw 4 girls come out of 1 porta potty. I'm like, that's not even sanitary, but gotta do what you gotta do. Then what happens? Girls get like, what, 8th grade high school? Basically, as soon as you become a woman, the world will tell you, ladies, look, now that you become a woman, you got something the boys like now, better than your old notes and games. You've got that body. You can give it to the guy, he's gonna like you more. Girls always begin with this idea. Okay, let me get this straight. So long as I'm technically not having sex with him, I'm being good. So hooking up and making out, that's not a big deal. Doing this with a guy, well, as long as I love him, it's not a big deal. Why not? Well, because those other girls are worse than I am. And when it's all said and done, the girl convinces herself this priceless gift of her body is just not a big deal. Something starts to die in the girl. She could go from boy to boy to boy, never sit still. By the time she gets to college, dude, she got no clue who she is. She defined her whole identity by the boy she's clinging to. And she thinks she's in love with him. She's probably in love with the fact that he makes her feel wanted when she doesn't even want herself half the time. But she's afraid of being alone, and she settles for hooking up, but something dies in her. I read about a guy sleeping, his dog's barking. Came in the backyard, his dog's barking a bush. And the guy's like, dude, it's a bush, shut up, go to bed. Goes to sleep. 2:30, the dog starts barking. Guy came in the backyard with a stick. Come here, Pooch, smack, and he beat the dog into submission. Back to sleep. 2:45, the dog starts freaking out. The guy threw a fit, cocked a gun. I don't know if he's drunk, but he apparently shot and killed the dog in the backyard, went peacefully to sleep. Then what happened is the robber who's hiding in the bushes got out of the bushes, walked over to the body of the dead dog, came inside the guy's house, apparently killed him in his sleep, and robbed everything that he owned. And that dog is like our conscience that tells us right from wrong. And I've said to my conscience, dude, shut up. Don't tell me I should be doing that with her. Don't tell me I should be looking at that stuff. Dude, shut up. I'd kill the boys and do it anyway and think I'm free. I'm not doing what my mom wants. I'm not doing what the church wants. I'm free. But then I always think afterwards, yeah, you're so free, you can't even say no to it anymore. You're so free, you're empty afterwards. If you're so free, how come you can't look her dad in the eyes whenever you go over her house? That's freedom? Let go of it all. I said, look, I know it's tough, but just tell him no more sex. It's a repeatable thing. But if you went in with who you are as a human being, this relationship is far more likely to go the distance. And so if you do want it to go to the distance, a couple things that you can do. As you get closer to dating and marriage, don't move in together before you get married. You know, some people say, well, we got to live together, shack up, play house, and then cohabit and then get married. Well, they think we got to see if we're compatible with each other. Dude, you're not going to be compatible. Look, if you're a guy and she's a girl, you are not compatible. You'll figure it out real fast in marriage. I knew we weren't compatible a week after we got married. We get back from a honeymoon, she moves all her junk in my bathroom. Do you know what happens when a girl gets in a guy's bathroom when you get married? It's called a hostile takeover, all right? Because, like, guys' bathrooms are perfect. What do you have? Soap and shampoo. That's it. I mean, some guys don't even have that. And then she moves in. I counted one morning, she had 24 bottles of different things in the shower. It's like a chemist lab in there. I'm like reading them all. She got like this pumice foot polish, like exfoliating body wash with raspberry, melon, apricot, pork chop, applesauce, salad dressing. I got razor blades everywhere. Dude, she had one bag. I remember it said lemon sage body butter. And I'm like, dude, what do you do with that? I mean, guys aren't into this. Like, how many of you guys have body buttered? Well, don't answer the question, but the point is you're not going to be compatible in marriage, okay? And that's because girls are weird and guys are entirely normal. And that's obvious, but the fact is, compatible, where does it come from? Latin, compati, which means to suffer with, okay? Lasting marriages are not because you fit perfectly. It's because you show up and you fight for your marriage when things get tough. Because girls, think about it. Living with the guy who's not your husband is crazy. Because think about it. You girls go on one date with a guy and he's an absolute jerk to you. Breaking up's easy, it's one date. Okay, and so first thing, no living together before we get married. Second thing, my wife and I decided not to sleep together before we got married. If I had sex with Kristalina before marriage, I'd be lying to her. My body would be telling her one thing. Oh, I've given myself totally to you. I'm all yours. If I'm not her husband, the embrace of sex is a lie. And some guys will say, but what if it's not like that? Some cheap one-night stand? What if you really care about this girl? And you both talked about it and you both feel ready. How come you can't sleep with her? If you really love her. Really? Love her? What does it mean to love her? You do what's best for her. Really? Best for her to wake up tomorrow? Am I pregnant? Is my mom going to find out? I spoke at a high school in Texas. They had 87 girls pregnant on campus. How come if they're, hey, look, Michelle's bed is like 6 inches off the ground. So he's like, honey, I'm going under there. And he dives under the bed and he wiggles under the mattress. He's like, the bed's like moving up and down in his chest. And Dad breaks, throw her down, boom. Where's John? Now, Michelle's smooth. She's like, John who? It's like, sweetheart, the bed's levitating behind you. There's a clue. So Dad comes up in the bed, looks underneath. Yeah, my friend John is on the floor in the corner shivering like a rat out of the bed. Like, what is he doing there? I mean, if he really loves this girl, why does you know, boy, you better hide from the man who loves her the most. Because he knows in the depths of his heart, this has nothing to do with love and sacrifice. It's about lust, pleasure. If it were about love, you know how proud he'd be to show the father how he loves the daughter. But as it is, he hides. But why is her dad like that? He's all uptight and protective? Because he's not naive. He knows the price she'll pay. Because look, man, sex is sexist. Girls always pay the biggest price. I mean, look at this. They studied here 10,000 girls. When a girl starts having sex, what happened in her life? They studied girls from the ages of 12 to 26. They found if a girl starts having sex when she's 12, it's about 7th grade, on average, they go on to sleep with about 21 different men in their lifetime. If a girl starts having sex as an 8th grade or freshman, she'll average 14 lifetime sexual partners. Sophomore, junior, it's 8, senior, 7. Numbers go down according to how long you wait. But the sooner the girl starts, unless she starts over, she becomes more likely to have more breakups, STDs, out-of-wedlock pregnancy, become a single mom, live under the poverty level, have a divorce, have an abortion, be depressed, on and on. The longer the girl waits for sex, the happier her life will be. Now, this does not mean if you're not a virgin, you have a terrible life. All this means is how could a guy look at this and say, oh, but I love her enough I could do this to her? And with Crystal and I, this is not why we save sex for marriage. Do you think we practice chastity because of this? It's like, well, honey, I'm afraid of increasing your rates of living under the poverty level, honey. We can't do that tonight. Now, the reason we waited is simple. It's because I love her, and love can wait to give, but lust can't wait to get. If you're sexually active right now, or you're doing sexual stuff, take it out. You'll see if it's real love. We did a big public high school in Michigan, 1,000 freshmen, 1,000 sophomores. After the assembly, this senior runs in, and he's all ticked off. He's like, dude, who told my girlfriend about chastity? I was like, me. He's like, man, I go, what's the matter? Turns out he's a senior, and his girlfriend is a freshman. Yeah, he was one of these older guys that didn't have enough social skills to date a girl his own age who goes after the young ones. But what's the deal with you girls and older guys? Like, watch this. How many of you girls in here are 15 years old? Put your hands up. 15-year-old girls. Put your hands up. Put up high, 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 high. How many of you girls are currently dating a 12-year-old boy? Oh, I'm proud of you. Now, how come girls laugh at that, but if a guy's older, she doesn't think twice? First reason it happens is girls mature faster than guys do. And I know girls are thinking, oh, that's a shocker. But think about it. Look at a 13-year-old girl. 13-year-old girls, they'll go home tonight and call up their friends and be like, I want a relationship one day where I can communicate about my feelings, my friends, my shoes, and my Stanley, and fine. Look at a 13-year-old boy. He's not there. He's not even close to being there. 13-year-old boys, they're going to go home tonight, sit in the room by themselves, be like, I can make noises in my armpit. It's fascinating. You know, and that's fine. I still do that. But the thing is that 13-year-old girls get bored of the 13-year-old guy. But then along comes older guy to younger girl. First thing she thinks, oh, he's older than me, he's more mature, and he likes me. This is exciting. Little does she know, all the guys know. The younger she is than you, the more easily she'll give in to your desire, but she's afraid of rejection. I'll bet you girls whatever you want. Most of the time, what's going on right there, the girl's probably looking for the love she never got from her own dad, but she's not going to find it in the arms of another man. From the time you girls were 2, you wanted to know, Daddy, am I beautiful? Do you love me? Do you want me? Do you notice me? Are you even going to be here for me? Girls, look, I'm sorry. If your father is absent or he's abusive, you go in the world and the question's not answered. And then the older guys show up. Yeah, I notice you. Yeah, I want you. Feels like it's making up for that missing love. I saw it one night. I'm putting my daughter Mary to bed. She's 5 years old. I'm kneeling next to her bed, just talking about her day, saying some prayers. I go to give her a hug goodnight. I want to go to hug her. She won't let go. Minute goes by, 2 minutes go by, dude, she won't let go. I can feel her little 5-year-old heart beating on mine, her breath on my cheek. I just give her a big squeeze, and she let go. And she said, wow, Dad, that was a lot of love. I'm like, you bet, girl. The next night, I give her another big hug. She said, Dad, your breath smells like dead frogs. I'm like, can't win them all. The next night, I gave her another big hug, and she said, Daddy, what would happen if your eyeball fell out? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? But I saw it, though. The first night, her heart was like a sponge, just like awaiting the love of the Father to fill it up. If that heart of yours is not filled up with real love from home, it explains why it's easy to settle for things like lust, because at least you feel wanted for something. But these poor girls, man, they haven't heard the boy's line before. You know the number one thing he'll say to get you in bed is, look, I love you so much, and you know I would never pressure you to do anything sexual that you're not ready for. I totally respect that. We can wait until you're comfortable with it. And she thinks, oh, you see, he's sweet. But if you watch it, he'll sexually take from her everything she's willing to give. He is not guarding her innocence. He's wearing it down. Her girlfriends tell her, can't you see he's bad for you? But it's like she's deaf. She's like, I know he has problems, but he smells good. I can't break up. I don't know what to do. And she stays put. But when it's real love, it will actually bring you closer to everyone who loves you. Family, friends, God. When it's not real love, you get plucked away from all three. Remember that guy around the auditorium who told my girlfriend about chastity? I said, me, what's the matter? He said, I just saw my girlfriend in the hallway after your talk, and she looked all happy, and now she won't sleep with me anymore. I want to find out what happened to her. I said, oh, you can sleep with her again one day. Marry her. He was like, pfft. I said, isn't she worth waiting for? He said, no. It's the love test. You want to know if a boy loves you? Well, here's your chance to find out. And sometimes he does. Cincinnati, big football player, came up after the talk. He said, Jason, your talk got done an hour and a half ago. He said, I went back to class. I couldn't hear anything the teacher was saying. He goes, be honest, yeah, I'm having sex. I'm sleeping with this girl. And he goes, but I love her. I know I love her. But I know we shouldn't be doing this stuff behind her dad's back. There's no honor in that. And he goes, to show her I do love her, this is what I did after your talk. And he opened up his notebook, showed me a piece of paper filled front and back with his handwriting. And all it said across the top was 100 ways to start loving Kelsey without having sex. He emailed me 3 days later. He said, I'm almost done at the 100. I'm going to make it 1,000. Thanks, this is going to make a difference. Could you imagine how strong his marriage could be one day if he knows 1,000 ways to love a woman before sex? Problem is, when sex comes in first, it typically covers up the absence of that love that's simply never developed. And some guys will say, but girl, if you loved me, if you really loved me, you'd give it to me if you loved me. Girl, if he loved you, he wouldn't be asking for it in the first place. If you love him, you can't give him whatever he wants because you're afraid he'll get it from another girl. That is not love, it is insecurity. Love doesn't give people whatever they want. It's like I came downstairs looking for my kids once. I'm like, hey guys, where are you? Silence. I'm like, come on, it's not funny. John Paul, Colby, Mary, where are you? Silence. Now, when my kids are quiet, that means they're either sleeping or doing something illegal. Those are the only options you have on the table. I know they're up to no good. I look in the kitchen, freezer's open, there's a gallon of ice cream missing from the freezer. I'm like, I know that is Colby. Colby, I know where he is. I go in the kids' playroom, got a slide in there. Under the slide is a cave. I look in the cave, sure enough, there he is. He's completely naked, eating a gallon of ice cream out of his lap. I'm like, El Gordo, give it to me. And he's like, oh, here comes Dad. I grab his fat little ankles. I'm dragging on his butt on the floor. He's still scooping it in, sliding the floor. I pull it away. I'm like, give it to me. He pulls it back. He's like, you don't love me. And I'm like, I don't love you. I'm like, dude, you're lactose intolerant. And I'm like, boy, you'd be on the toilet for a week if I let you eat all that. Of course I love you. It's because I love you. You can't have whatever feels good. It's not good for you. It's the same principle behind chastity of love. Why do you think I waited 27 years for my wife? Love. You think we save sex from marriage because we're afraid of it? We can't have sex. We're going to get pregnant and dive in STD and go to hell. We can't do that. No, it's not about obeying all these rules so you don't go to hell. It's about actually wanting heaven for the person that you love. And so if you want to live this out, I would say, girls, take off after school this week. Go to some shopping mall. You want to get married one day? Why don't you buy a white candle? Let your husband light that on your wedding night as a sign of the purity you've maintained from this day to the day he lifts her veil. I know a girl got one of those purity rings. Her fiancé proposed to her. She took the ring off and gave it to him. She said, I saved that for you like I saved myself for you. He thanked her for it and put it in his wallet without her knowing. He took it to the jeweler who's making his wedding band, had the jeweler melt the silver of her ring into the gold of his wedding band, and that's what he wears on his ring finger as her husband. To realize, girl, there's something greater out there if you wait. So from this point on, don't you ever be afraid. Some boy is going to leave you if you don't give him something sexual. Girls, you turn that around and you let the boy be afraid. He is the one who could lose you if he doesn't know how to respect you. And girls will say, but Jason, there's the problem right there. There's no good guys. I'm never going to find a good guy. I'm just going to grow old, be alone, live in an apartment with 12 cats and be miserable for the rest of my life. And girls give up hope. 3 girls in Philadelphia came up to me and they're like, Jason, guys are jerks. I'm like, no, there's lots of good guys. And they're like, guys are jerks. And I'm like, whoa, issues. I said, first girl, I said, well, look, are you dating anyone? She's like, we're kind of dating. It's complicated. And I go, well, tell me about him. We talked for an hour and a half, and she finally admitted, okay, he is a drug dealer. He swears a lot, drinks a lot. He's cheated on her, and her parents hate him, but I couldn't figure out why. Parents are so unfair. And then next girl jumps in. She said, but Jason, all guys are jerks. I said, no, there's so many good gentlemen. I meet them all the time. She said, they're all jerks. She said, we were at a party 3 weeks ago. These guys came up behind a girl. They poured a beer on her head because she was a girl. 2 weeks ago, we were at the same party, and they poured a beer on another girl's head. Last weekend, we were at the same party, and they poured a beer on another girl's head. See, guys are jerks. I said, what are you doing this weekend? They're like, we're going to the party. And I'm like, yeah, I wonder where your problem is coming from. That's why I beg the girl, dude, set the standard high. Because look, if you have to lower your morals to find love, it is not love you're finding. Like, you really want love? Grow a backbone. You know what it looks like? Perfect example. I read about a girl, true story. She gets a text message from some boy. Dude, this guy wants her to send him some revealing photograph of herself. And so he texts her, he's like, hey, why don't you send me a picture of yourself? And she's like, oh, okay, here you go. Click, took a selfie of her face and sent him that. He got the picture, he texted her back, he said, hey, I didn't mean a picture of your face. And she's like, oh, okay, here you go. Click, took a selfie of her foot and sent him that picture instead. Dude, that is the girl who's going to find real love. So, you know, girls, if any guy ever asks you to send him a revealing photograph of yourself, ladies, I give you absolute permission to send him a picture of your completely bare hand waving goodbye to him. Because that is as much flesh as he deserves to see, okay? A gentleman would never ask you for that kind of a picture, let alone collect them and share them. Dude, that's not a gentleman. That's a collector of child porn. Don't date these losers. And you know, don't even date a guy who hides behind his cell phone to ask you out to begin with. Because if he can't face the fear of rejection face to face, dude, trust me, he won't even break up with you face to face. We got to make relationships more human. And girls, help each other with this. Quit the gossip. Oh, you see that girl? She's such a slut because she did that. She's a hoe because I heard she did that. I saw it on X, so I know it's true because it's retweeted. Sources are verified. Like, no, sluts don't exist. I meet 100,000 students a year, and I have never met a slut. And you may be thinking, well, then you haven't met this girl yet. Well, perhaps, but I'll bet you I know the girl better than you do. Like, you might know what she did with the boys, but do you know what happened to her when she was 9? Do you know what happened when she was 12? Like, just trust me. You got no idea. Take the labels off. Nobody in here is perfect. Guys, where do you go from here? I think guys could have different reactions to this talk. First reaction, you can walk out of here, but what's the first thing you look at afterwards? Guys, we typically look at the other guys. What'd you think of the talk? I don't know. What'd you think of the talk? I don't know. What'd you think of the talk? Because look, girls in high school, we want to impress you, but I'm sorry to break the news. We're just more interested in impressing the other guys. Because until a man knows he's a man, he's always trying to prove he is one. So if I think degrading a woman somehow makes me more of a man, I'll do it to score points at boys because I'm kind of insecure. But what's needed with chastity is authenticity. You can't be one guy on Saturday night, a different guy Sunday in church, one guy in front of the girl's parents, and their backs are turned, you become somebody else. It demands you have no duplicity. New York, 3 basketball players came up after the talk, and I love basketball. We started talking. They're sleeping with all these girls. And I said to them, how do you want some guy to treat your daughter one day? He goes, oh, we ain't having daughters, we're just having sons. I'm like, oh. I said, why don't you want a daughter? And he was honest. He said, I know what I'm doing to girls. He said, I'd kill a guy if you ever did that to my girl one day. So that's the solution? Use girls and don't have your own? No, what's needed is authenticity. I saw it at a school. They had the best basketball team in the country. After the talk, the star of the team walks up to me. He's almost 7 feet tall. And he walks up, he's like, yo, can we talk in the back? I'm like, yes, come with me. And I took his hand and we went back here. I was like, what's going on over there? He said, look, be honest with you. He said, I've been with so many girls. I've done so much stuff. I knew it was wrong. Did she wanted it? I wanted it. Half the time I was drunk and I tried to blame it on the beer. He said, nowadays, girls around here, he said, they're worse than the guys half the time. You should see the nasty messages they're sending. He said, but after your talk today, man, that's different. He said, I want to be faithful to my wife before I meet her. I don't want to get married and give her all these memories I have of girls I'm never going to see again when I graduate. But how do you start over when you've been where I've been? He said, when you're with the girl and she says she's ready for sex, how do you say no to that? I said, if she thinks she's ready for sex and she's not ready to be a mother, she has no clue what she's talking about. Boston, 7th grade boy came up to me. Jason, my girlfriend and I have talked and we're ready. I'm like, he's 12. I'm like, ready? Are you ready to be a father? He said, no, just for sex. So after explaining to him the shocking connection they just discovered between the two, I said, look, you know I'm married, got a couple little kids. I go, you know you don't know about me? Our first baby's had so many medical problems. He's had to be in all these different hospitals. I go, do you know the first 2 years of being a new dad, I spent more than $30,000 in medical bills on him so I could have the best doctors taking care of my sick boy. And you got what it takes to be a good father. You ready for sex? He opened up his wallet and showed me his money. He's like, I have $5. I'm like, buy her a pizza. I mean, if you love her, prove it. Is it easy? No, but let's just be honest, guys. We cause 90% of our own temptations by what we look at and who we hang out with, but then we want to blame it on the girls for why it's hard to be pure. You want to make it easy? Find good friends. My friends in high school were terrible. Best friend and I, driving home from school, he pulls the car into the parking lot of a pornographic adult bookstore. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I want to go in the nudie bookstore. I'm like, don't go in some nudie bookstore, you filthy little pervert. And he's like, well, I'm going in there. I'm like, well, I'm not going in there. I'm not some perv. My porn's at home. You know, I'm sitting there, it's like 5 minutes, 15, 20. I'm like, what is he doing? I look at my watch. Yeah, I got a confirmation class to be at a church soon. But I'm sitting in the parking lot of some filthy bookstore waiting for my best friend to get out. It dawned on me, Jason, you made a stupid choice of friends. You might have a lot of good friends, but you don't have friends that are good. But then I found those friends in Life Teen, Campus Ministry, Youth Group. A lot easier to live a good life because you always become like your friends. Second thing to make it easy, only date a girl if you can really see yourself marrying her one day. My friend Philip did this. 8th grade, saw the girl he's going to marry. Points her out to his mom. Hey, Mom, you see Tiffany? She's a good girl. I like her. She's beautiful on the inside and the outside. They stayed friends to junior high, friends through high school. There's no rush to date. At the end of high school, they started dating. Made a clear commitment. Let's save sex for marriage. Guy's an incredible athlete, quarterback of the football team, got a scholarship to North Carolina State to be their quarterback. The guy won the MVP of every bowl game he played for NC State. Then he and Tiffany got married as virgins. Then he got drafted by the National Football League, and he was our quarterback for a long time in San Diego for the Chargers, Phillip Rivers. And he told me, Jason, one of the ways I stayed pure at Tiff is we've got the same standards. If she was tempted, I'd be strong. If I was tempted, she'd be strong. Tiffany told my wife, so our kids play together, Playboy bunnies used to come to the Charger games wearing her husband's jersey, number 17, calling out to him from the crowd, hey, Phillip, come here, waving an invitation to a party with the Playboy models up in L.A. And my wife said to Tiffany, well, what did Phillip do? Tiffany laughed about it. She's like, nothing. He ignores them. She has peace because her husband's a man of God. He'd bring a priest with him on his road games so he would never miss Mass before the big game on Sunday because he knew purity is a gift from Jesus Christ, and if you want it, he'll give it to you. So if you want purity, go get it. Go to the sacrament of reconciliation tonight. Some people are like, oh, I'm not going to confession. What if I tell the priest what I did? It's like, that's the point. What do you think he's going to like call the Vatican afterwards? Like, I've never heard this before, Pope Francis. Dude, Pope Francis wouldn't care. He'd be like, no hablo inglés, click. So just go. You feel so much better afterwards. The problem is, honestly, a bunch of you have already been to confession, but I'll be frank with you, your confession stinks. Your confession is, hey, Father, forgive me, I did this and this and this. Well, what about that? Oh, that we don't need to talk about that. That happened a while ago. It's kind of embarrassing. Once you get rid of that other stuff, I'll kind of hang on to this one for next time. Doesn't work like that. Some guy tried to do that to Padre Pio once. Yeah, good luck. Saint Padre Pio could read your soul. Padre Pio said to the man, you live near water, but you don't wash. In other words, don't just go to confession. Have a great confession. The beauty is, it's not like you even have to go to confession. Tonight, confession has come to you. 3 priests are going to be available for the next 2 hours for the sacrament of reconciliation. Perfect time as we prepare for Easter. Go. So you don't just get some motivational speech tonight. You literally get to go home tonight, if you want, with your baptismal innocence restored to you through that sacrament. Go to confession and go at least once a month. Second thing, never leave the Mass. My wife and I try to go to Mass every day because every grace you need to love, you get from love himself. Never leave the bread of angels. Third thing was huge for me, was devotion to Our Lady, the Rosary. Because you look at porn, dude, it takes 5 minutes to look at porn. Honestly, feels like it takes 15 years to forget what you saw. So for me, it was devotion to Our Lady that helped heal those memories and just taught me how to look at girls again. So get a rosary, keep it in your pocket, and pray it every day. If you can't do that, at least say the name of Mary as a prayer when you're tempted. She'll come through for you. And to help you in this devotional, we brought for all the teens free miraculous medals. Mother Teresa called these things spiritual bullets. Wear it around your neck. Watch, you get a lot of grace and protection from that. We also brought gifts to give you. They're all going to be in these bags. There's blue bags for the boys, pink for the girls. In the girls' bag is a book I wrote for you called Pure Love, and then a book my wife wrote for you girls called Pure Womanhood. In the middle of this booklet, my wife included for you girls her dump him list, okay? It's like 16 things. If a guy has any of them, you just say goodbye, don't let the door hit you or the good Lord splits you. So that's all in there. And so, but this is basically her testimony. As I said, look, I got married as a virgin. My wife came from a broken family, and at about the age of 15, she lost her virginity and just started all these cycles of bad relationships. And then when she was like 18, she said, I'm so done with this. This is not getting me any closer to the love that I wanted. And so she started over. And so this book is like a little summary of her testimony that she wrote. And then you also get some other free things in here. One, there's little postcards, and on one side are these QR codes you can scan with your phone. First one is a video of tonight's talk with my wife giving it with me. So if you ever want to watch the talk again or share it with a friend who's not here or a future ex-boyfriend or whatever, that link is there. Other links on how to break free from porn, how to start over. And on this side is how you can connect with us. My website, chastity.com. My wife's website, our Instagram, our Facebook, our Twitter, our YouTube, our podcast. We're putting stuff out almost every single day. This is a way to keep this message going in your life by just connecting with us on social media. So that stuff is there. And then we also have these little chastity commitment cards. You can sign it and date it if you want to commit to this. I got 3 friends in college who signed this in high school, no kidding. All 3 guys ended up marrying girls who had signed the same type of card on the same year, of the same month, on the same day, years before they met. Now, this is not a coupon for a husband, but it's a good place to start, so we got a bunch of those. Now, the boys are going to get all the same stuff as the girls, except instead of Pure Womanhood is a book I wrote for you guys called Pure Manhood. So all that stuff is in there. And then the parents, you probably already got your bags. And if you want to dump it out, I'll run through what you're going to get for free in yours. One is a book Chris Stefanik and I wrote called Raising Pure Teens. Because you're the parents, you're the primary sex educators. This kind of explains how to do that at home. We also have for the parents this little postcard here. And if you look on one side, it's how to support the ministry, but the other side, more important, over here, resources. And at the bottom, the text to join thing, this is internet safety stuff. Because parents, look, you have to become computer literate. Some of you don't even know how to open an email attachment, and your kid's hacking into the Pentagon's website for fun after school. We got to catch up. And look, dude, trust me, I get it. It's intimidating. How do I go to settings in general and screen time and this and that and that? So what we did, we teamed up with a group called Covenant Eyes. They created this thing where you get a free video every day for 1 week. And it's not an hour long. It's 4 minutes a day. You just do the text to join thing, and it'll say, day number 1, let's look at the internet browser. Day 2, what kind of router are you using? Do you have the safety set up on that? Day 3, let's look at social media. Day 4, let's look at YouTube. Every day, and then by the end of the week, you're going to feel like, you know what? I feel like we actually have safety set up on the screens in our house. If you want that thing, it's free. You just text the word SAFE at the bottom of this to the number 66866, and they'll send it to you for free. Now, back over here on the left-hand side is a link for Covenant Eyes, but the second one I want you to look at, pluggedin.com. This will give you movie, television, video game, and music reviews. So if your kid is like, Mom, can we watch Game of Thrones tonight? You're going to be like, no, that's porn, here's why. And then you explain. Or your kid's like, Mom, I want to get this wholesome race car video game. It's called Grand Theft Auto. Can we get that for the family? No! And so it'll help let you know what's in this stuff before you get it for the family. And so pluggedin.com, super helpful resource. But there's lots of other resources there that are helpful. And then there's also for the parents a little donation envelope, and why we put that in there is everywhere that I go to speak, we put out tables of free stuff for the teens. So tomorrow I've got an all-boys high school of like 500 boys, and then after that a co-ed high school about just as many, and then tomorrow night University of Miami in Ohio for the college students. Next morning we got I think 1 or 2 more high schools to do. Every school we put out hundreds and hundreds of free books for the students. We were at one school in Virginia. A girl comes in before the talk. She sits on the bleachers. I noticed her boyfriend came in, and he sits behind her, and then he wrapped his arms and legs around her during the assembly. And at first, it seemed like she appreciated like his tentacles or whatever, but then like as the talk went on, I was just noticing she's like scooting away from him, then she's totally away from him. At the end of the talk, they come down to the table where we have all the free stuff, and they're holding hands, but she's looking for something. And then she looks at him, and she says, "Go away." And he's like, "All right," and he kind of walks off, and she leans over to me. She's like, "What's that book you have with the 16 reasons to dump a guy?" I'm like, "That book is right here, sweetheart." She's like, "Thank you very much." And so we're able to give away, every year we give away $100,000 in free books, and we never have enough. Every school, they just clear out within minutes from the high school. And so what we're trying to do is just get a community of families nationwide who just believe in this as much as we do, who just pledge like $10 a month or $5 a month. Like, hey, we'll sign up for this, or just a one-time gift. And then you can put the information on that little envelope, dump it in the basket in the back, and then we can give more and more every single month as the ministry grows. And so all that stuff is in the parent bags. And then there are a couple things for sale over in the hall. For the girls, my wife and I wrote this poem called How to Find Your Soulmate Without Losing Your Soul, 21 Secrets for Women. The first chapter is the top 10 guys to avoid. So it's kind of like a manual on how to avoid losers. And so this is the book we'd recommend for a girl, whether she's 14 or 24 or 34 and single. That's the book for the girls. My wife also wrote a little booklet called Made New, because, you know, the whole Me Too movement came out. It was like hashtag Me Too, but like there's no follow-up to it. So she decided maybe I need to speak up. And so she actually published just a little book about how she was sexually abused by somebody in her own family. And she talks about how you can actually face that and heal it instead of taking on shame that doesn't belong to you and letting that cripple your future relationships. And so this Made New booklet is kind of hope and healing. And then some people are like, well, where's the book for guys? Well, guys don't read, okay? But guys started bugging, like, no, like we're literate, we want book. And so I'm like, all right, well, what do we write for the guys? And then it dawned on me, I'm like, dude, that's it. I've always felt bad for the guys, because when it comes to dating and girls, like, dude, literally all you ever get told is what you can't do, right? Don't do this and don't do that and don't do that. Okay, all right, whatever. Then you get to college and it's like, okay, I got this down. I can't sleep with my girlfriend. I can't look at porn with my girlfriend. I can't live with my girlfriend. I can't have an abortion with my girlfriend. I can't clone my girlfriend. I learned that in religion class. Like, great. I know everything I can't do with the woman. What am I supposed to do with one then? We don't teach that. Good luck in college. Bye. Like, that's not fair. So I'm like, dude, that's it. We just need a book on dating etiquette for Catholic guys. So I started writing the book, and then I just quit. Because I'm like, dude, guys don't care what I think about dating. Guys want to know what the women think about dating. But here's the problem. Girls don't want to tell a guy what they want the guy to know because they want it to come from him and not from her. Like, how do you get around that? So I look at the analytics of our social media accounts, and we have more than 100,000 single women following us on social media. So I said, ladies, I'm writing a book for the guys on dating. Would you girls just spill the beans? Would you tell me what you wish we knew about dating? How do you want to be asked out? How do you not want to be asked out? Where do you want to go on a first date? Where do you not want to go on a date? Or how can a guy break up with you without ghosting you? Give me some specifics, and I'll put it in the book for the guys, and leave your comments below. And I posted it. And oh boy, the floodgates opened. Women submitted more than 30,000 words of feedback, but it was gold. And I put what the girls said in this book for the guys called The Dating Blueprint, where we get super specific. Like, when you ask a girl on a date, you are not allowed to do it through a text message. It's cowardly, it's lame, and it's insincere. Got to ask her out face to face. If she says yes, then you have to plan the date. Don't sit around, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? I don't know, what do you want to do? We can play Clash of Clans, Clash Royale, Brawl Stars, Sidewalk Surfer, Candy Crush. Like, no, plan the date. Like, put thought into the thing. And the guy's like, okay, plan the date. Dinner and a movie. No, movies is the #1 place girls said they do not want to go on a first date. And the guy's like, why not? Dinner and a movie. Well, dude, think about it. You take her to the movies, you bring her home, you're like, I really enjoyed getting to know you better tonight. And she's like, what? Like, we just watched Kong beat up Godzilla for 3 hours. You think you know me better because of that? No. Take her a place you can talk, get to know each other, and have some fun. And, you know, and if you go to a restaurant, okay, pick her seat for her. Not because I'm telling you where to sit, but if it's a beautiful view, give her the view. If there's no view, the man should take the seat that's facing her and then the wall. So she knows during dinner, your attention is on her, not on ESPN, not on the cute little hostess walking by, and it makes her feel honored. You tell us the young guys, like, oh, that's good. We just want the specifics. But the most important chapter, no doubt, in the book is the last one, which is on how to date your wife. And I put that in here because I met a woman once, and she said, Jason, I've been married for 30 years. She said, do you know the last date my husband took me on? She said, it was the night he proposed to me 30 years ago, and he's never taken me on another date since. 3 decades, no dates. Contrast that to a buddy of mine who lives in Texas. He's been married for 20 years, and never once has he ever missed his weekly date night with his bride in 20 years. Rain or shine, he takes her on a date. It doesn't matter if the kids are sick in the living room, like throwing up in buckets. Like, they don't care. They'll, like, drug him out with Benadryl and have a date in the kitchen at midnight. Like, he's going to have a date with his wife. And I'm telling you, man, that guy's kids are going to know how to date because their parents never forgot how to date. I think dating is such a mess today because so many adults forgot how to do it. Now we got a culture of single people who pretend like they're dating. The dating people behave like they're married, and the married people seem to think they're single. Everything is out of order. And so this book, The Dating Blueprint, just tries to put the stuff back in order. But our one challenge for the guys before you date is this. You are not allowed to ask a woman on a date if you're still looking at porn. You can't do it. You can look, you get your pixels or you can have a person, but you can't have them both. And good guys will say to me, look, dude, I get it. I can't ask a woman to commit to me unless I'm faithful to her, but I'm trying to get rid of the porn. And seriously, I'll be good for like 3 weeks, and then I just mess it up. And then I'm good for like a month. And then I don't know, I just get bored or lonely or angry or stressed or tired, and I fall back to the same dumb habits. Can you actually break free once and for all? Well, you can. And so my friend Matt Fradd and I created a book for the guys called Forge. It's a 33-day game plan guys preferably can do together on how to break free from this stuff. So the Forge book will help with that. There's a co-ed book for guys and girls. If You Really Loved Me, it's answers to the top 100 questions we get on dating, relationships, and living out this virtue. My friend Joey wrote one called It's Not Your Fault. His parents got divorced, and it was a really messy breakup and everything, and he gave up hope because he figured, look, if my parents couldn't figure out relationships, how am I supposed to figure it out? And you know what? Figure it out, he did. Studied, prayed, and now he's got an awesome family and marriage today. And so it talks about how to build the family that you never got to have yourself, called It's Not Your Fault. For the dads, my friend Devin Shaw wrote this one called Show Us the Father. It's my favorite book on fatherhood. We even have a prayer book called Pure Faith. If you got an iPhone, it's free as an app in the iTunes store called Pure Faith. A little booklet on the theology of the body. And then the last two, one favorite book I ever wrote was a biography of my hero, St. John Paul II. This is a collection of stories of John Paul that were not released by the Vatican until after he passed away. Like all his different assassination attempts. People think it was just the one time he got shot at St. Peter's. He got stabbed by a priest in the Vatican in Fatima a year after he got shot by the guy in St. Peter's Basilica Square. So all that stuff, different miracles he performed, are in this book. So if you love John Paul, you'll enjoy this one. And then the last book we've got for sale over there is the subject of the next talk I'll do, which is on the subject of gender. It's called Male, Female, Other, a Catholic Guide to Understanding Gender. It goes through the top 18 claims and objections we sometimes hear and how to answer those things with clarity and charity. And so that's the book on the subject of gender. So all that stuff is for sale or free in the bags. But the best gift we have for you is this. As of today, I got thousands of people praying for you. Last place I spoke was in Indiana. I spoke at the University of Notre Dame and a bunch of high schools there. I asked those students to be praying for you. Before this talk, I took a picture of y'all from up on the balcony, and I said, hey, I'm doing a talk today, tonight, Indiana, please pray. I put that up on Instagram. I put it up on Twitter, and I check comments afterwards. People are like, oh, we're praying for you guys in Kenya, praying for you in the Philippines. All these prayers are descending on you. All I ask in return, please pray for all the students that I speak to. Tomorrow, I got 3 more talks. The next day, I got 1 or 2. Then it's home for a week with the family, all for the next trip. Please pray for them. Why? It's because I could speak to your future husband or wife tomorrow. You never know what lifestyle they're in tonight. That's why I beg your prayers. I know one girl, 16 years old, woke up in the middle of the night. Oh, I need to pray for my future husband. She prayed for the guy and went to bed. Years later, they met and got married. She said, honey, I prayed for you when I was 16. And he's like, oh, thanks. And she says, look, there it is in my diary. That night I prayed for you. He said, I used to have a journal back then. Let me see if I can find it for fun, see what I was doing. Found his journal, dusted off. He said, that's the year I was in the war because he was a veteran. She said, what does it say that night? He said, honey, the night you prayed for me was the night the enemy troops came across our lines. They slaughtered almost every man in my platoon, and they spared me. So thanks for your prayers. Prayers are good. Prayers are good. So I beg your prayers. And I know I've said a lot today about future husband, future wife. Some of you are being called to a higher vocation, priesthood, religious life. Don't be afraid of that. If God gives you that calling, he'll actually give you that desire, and he'll give you peace. So don't run from that. There's joy there. Some of you may be thinking, but Jason, your whole talk today is all boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. What about homosexuality? How does any of this apply to me if those are the attractions I experience? Look, I think if you experience homosexual attractions, the world is going to tell you, look, you only have two options in your life, okay? Option number one, hide in the closet out of fear that if anyone knew you had those feelings, they would hate you and be bigoted against you. Or if you don't want to live in a closet, and frankly, who would, come out of the closet. Embrace your sexual attractions as your identity. Forget about God, the church, and the Bible, and you do what you want with your body. Gay pride or gay shame, what's your pick? Now imagine if you felt stuck in the middle. Wait a minute, I don't want to throw away God, but seriously, shame? Why do I have to live ashamed of something I never chose to begin with? It's not like I woke up this morning, oh, it's Wednesday, I'll be attracted to guys today. It doesn't work like that. Will people hate you for having those feelings? Yeah, some people will. You see them on TV. They got their protest signs. They're like, God hates gays. I'm like, God hates your stupid sign, all right? That's what he hates. But the problem is, fanatics like that make everybody think that if you believe in traditional marriage, well, you're just a hateful, homophobic bigot. But that's not true. I was at the store buying a frame of a painting someone gave me, Pope John Paul II. I put the painting down, and the guy looked at it, and he's like, oh, Pope John Paul II. He said, I used to be a Catholic boy, but the church doesn't want me anymore. I go, what do you mean the church doesn't want you? And he opened up to me about homosexuality. I said, no, the church wants you. This is your home. God wants you. God loves you. I love you. He's like, what church do you go to? We had this great conversation. 2 weeks later, I came back. I'm like, hey, Eric, how are you? He said, you remembered my name. I said, yeah, how you been? He said, okay. We started talking. 10 minutes into the conversation, his eyes started turning red, and this tear just came down his cheek. And he said, can I hug you? I said, absolutely. Came around the counter. I gave him a big hug. My son, John Paul, was. I'm like, John Paul, give him a hug. My son's hugging his leg, and I was hugging him. And I was driving home thinking, like, what is it in the conversation that hit him like that? And I think what it was is that I did not tolerate him. I just loved him, like enough to tell him the truth. Like, look, bud, your sexual attractions like mine are not our identities. If anyone in the world defines their identity by who they're sexually attracted to, life will get confusing real fast. Because what would happen to me? Friday afternoon, I'm flying out of the Cincinnati airport. What if I see some stunningly beautiful woman in that airport who's not my wife? And I'm attracted to a woman who's not my wife. Is that attraction my identity? No. If I see some pornographic billboard, I think she's pretty. Is that my identity? No. If you experience homosexual attractions, your identity is you are a beloved son or daughter of God. But man, you're living in a culture that wants you to sexualize your identity like it's sexualizing your deodorant, Doritos, and cheeseburgers. I was at a hardware store. They had a magazine. It says if you buy the magazine, you'll learn blueprints to build sexy shutters for your house. I'm like, stop it. Like, I don't need sexy window treatments. I mean, could you imagine if you came home tonight, your friend is walking through your kitchen, and they're like, whoa, you have really sexy shutters. You'd be like, you're a really weird friend. But this is what's going on. Your identity is being sexualized. Your products have been sexualized. The new casualty, friendships are being sexualized. Have you ever noticed if like two guys hang out a lot, people get suspicious? They're like, you guys are hanging out a lot over there. You guys having a bromance? No, we're having a masculine friendship. Well, I've never heard of that before. It sounds suspicious to me. It's me. The biggest key is this. Attractions are being over-sexualized. All over the world, students are coming to me. And a girl will say something like this. Jason, I'm really confused because I think I'm straight. My friends think I'm a lesbian, so I'm concluding that I'm bi, and I'm trying to figure it out. And I'll be like, what's going on? And she'll say, well, the school I go to, the boys are really perverted and immature and gross. But there's a girl on my campus. I come alive when I'm around her. She's beautiful and funny and smart. My friends are telling me there's a girl crush and we should experiment. I don't know what to think. I said, look, I don't know if no one's just not told you this before. You're supposed to be repulsed by everything repulsive. You're supposed to be attracted to everything attractive. So your friend here, her wit, her charm, her beauty, doesn't that draw you to her? She said, it does. I said, look, I go to a Bible study. There's an 85-year-old man in our class with this gigantic beard, and I'm completely attracted to that guy. I mean, his sense of humor, his joy, his wisdom, I just want to be around the guy. Because guess what? Not every human attraction is a sexual attraction. And I'm telling you, this girl's eyes lit up. She's like, I've never thought about it like that before. That makes so much sense. Now look, it isn't always that cut and dry. Some people do experience sexual attractions, member of the same sex. How does chastity apply to them? Don't take my word for this. Go to our website, chastity.com. Click the button LGBT. Dude, just watch the videos, read the blogs. They're all done by friends of mine who experience these attractions and have found more joy in embracing the church's teachings on marriage, sex, and chastity than anything the world had offered them before. But don't take my word for it. Watch them share their stories. And I know tonight, I said a lot to you about boyfriend, girlfriend. But like I said at the top, most of you don't have one. I think that's great. My high school was 1,000 students. Today I'm friends with 2 of them. My wife's high school, 3,000 students. Today she knows none of them. Your life is going to go way beyond your school. That's why one girl told me, Jason, you're right. She said, you don't go to high school to find a husband. She said, you go to high school to find your bridesmaids. I said, girl, you get the point to take your time. Because when a girl doesn't take her time, you know what happens? She meets a cute guy. They start flirting. They start texting. They start kissing. Then she's like emotionally married to him. Now she's stalking him on social media, 3 o'clock in the morning. She's like picking out her wedding dress on Pinterest. She only known the guy 4 weeks. Then a month in, reality hits. Boom. And she's like, oh, I didn't know he flirts with other girls. I didn't know he drinks. I didn't know he looks at porn. I didn't know he builds a methamphetamine lab in his closet with his friends on Wednesdays. Like, I didn't know that. It's like, sweetheart, that's the point. Take your time. Find yourself. Love will find you. Now, last thing is this. If I only had 60 seconds to talk to you, this is the only thing I'd say. And there's only one thing here for me. It's all it's got to be. If after hearing this talk tonight, maybe your heart's heavy, you got some thinking you got to do, all you need to know is one thing. And it's how God looks at you for doing that stuff. And this is how he sees you. Dad, a few years ago, true story, dropped his kid off at preschool. He said, I'll love you. I'll pick you up after school. Promise, come get you. Dad went to work. Huge earthquake struck Armenia. The dad shoots the car back. It's too late. School's collapsed. Faculty's dead. Dad shows up. I know my kid's in that school. Starts tearing off the rocks and the glass. He dug for an hour. 5 hours. Knuckles are bleeding open. His back's cramped up. Dug for 20 hours. Like you guys, fathers one day, dig for your kid forever. 30 hours. He said, all I could think as I dug for my boy is a promise I always made to him. No matter what happens, always going to be there for you. 38 hours later, lifts up a board, and then under that's the face of his son. And he looked down upon his son, and his son looked up to him and said, Papa. And his son turned to 14 kids trapped alive with him, and he said, see, I told you my daddy was coming to get me. I told you that he promised. This is the love of God your Father. It doesn't matter how far away you think he's been. He's always there in the confessional to welcome you home. You guys have been an awesome audience. I love you guys. Have a beautiful life. Thank you guys very much. Thank you guys. So, thank you. So, thank you guys. Now, thank y'all. Now, before we transition, I want to show you one quick thing up here. And what this is I was checking one of our social media feeds, and who puts a post up there? But this like beautiful 20-something-year-old woman. And she said, Jason, I know you've been doing these talks a long time, because she said, you came to my town when I was in middle school. And she said, you gave your talk, and then after your talk, you give us these little commitment card things. And she said, I didn't sign it right then. I really wanted to think about it. And then she said, I took it home and I decided, you know, I do want this. So she said, I signed it and I dated it. And she said, guess what? I'm all grown up now, and I just did it. She said, I just surprised my husband on the morning of our wedding with that card that you gave me when I was like 13 years old. Sometimes I think words can only say so much. Sometimes images speak better than anything. So check this out.
So Emily told me at one point that the one thing that she wanted more than anything on her wedding day, hopefully besides me, was that she wanted to have this all filmed and have this be something that we could share together for the rest of our lives. We didn't think it was going to be possible, but honey, this is your wedding gift, and I'm so happy to be able to give it to you.
I was off the smiles. No way! That is the coolest present ever.
This is something that she, I don't know exactly when she did this, but she was in middle school, she made a commitment that she would save herself for the man that she was going to marry. And she told me she had this card and she thought she was going to try to find me. Doesn't matter what's in this box. That's pretty freaking awesome.
Well, you're stuck in harbor, babe. I'm stuck in Alberta, my dear. Why are you 10,000 miles from here? Well, I've been thinking of how far we've come from last year. But, babe, you're 10,000 miles from here. Well, you're setting sails, I'll be slamming nails in my chest, building a place for you to come and lay your head. 'Cause I've been counting the days since I first kissed you, my babe. Why are you lost at sea? You know I'll be here counting sheep inside my head, tossing and turning on my bed. But this is not where it will end. I promise you we'll meet again. For though I lost you out at sea, I will find you in my dream. I will find you in my dream.
If you look at a couple things in here, kind of sum it all up. And first, you'll notice in the morning of their wedding, people think chastity is boring, but I'm telling you, like, look at it, the fruit of a virtuous life is joy. You can't argue with it when you see it. Look at the moment they're exchanging vows on the altar. I mean, if anyone had ever made fun of them for practicing chastity, how most of those people's opinions matter in the end. And if I could burn into your imagination any single image of what I think of with chastity, it's this. Because when you see God's plan for love, lust looks boring. And if you don't believe me, look at the guy in the corner. He knows what I'm talking about. He's all excited about it down there. Now, with that having been said, we're going to take about a 20-minute break right now. Father's going to give some announcements on logistics. There are, I believe, snacks and stuff over in the hall. The books for sale are going to be in the hall. The donation baskets, if you want to take a half hour, put any donations in or sit in the back, little baskets. And then I'll let you explain where confessions are going to be, any other stuff, and then we'll be back here in about 20 minutes, right?
Quick round of applause for Jason. So we, as the parishes of Dearborn County, St. Teresa, St. Lawrence, St. Mary's, and All Saints also have a gift for you. Jason spoke about going out and buying a candle and using it as a purity candle that you commit your chastity to, and then you give that candle to your husband or to your wife on the day of your wedding, and you light that candle for the first time because you've saved yourself. All of you will leave here tonight. We bought you a candle. You don't need to go shopping. Father Hollowell's sister, who has worked with Jason over the years, also composed for all of you a letter on how to write a letter to your future spouse. So you'll be receiving tonight a letter on how to write a letter to your future spouse. Jason, in some of his talks, particularly when his wife gives testimony, she talks about the fact that even though she was not a virgin when she married, every single time that her virginity was tested, she would write another letter, and another letter, and another letter, and another letter. And on the night of her wedding, she presented how many letters? A lot. Of temptations, but not times that she fell. So you'll receive both of those tonight as well as a gift from us, just so that wraps up kind of with this talk, because the next talk is going to be on a different topic. We love you. Make a choice tonight. Make a decision tonight. You are worth it. And God is more powerful than any passion or desire that you have. Amen? So what's going to happen? We are going to take a 20-minute break. Just pause. When you come back, confessions will be heard back here, and confessions will be heard back there, okay? Parents, we're going to ask you to stay where you're at so that our young people can get out of here, get a snack, and get back. So do not move or to clog and to take care of congestion stuff. We did get the live stream hardwired, so if you would like to sit and see, or whatever that means, the parents, Parish Life Center, it is working now. Young people, I'm going to have you stand right now. I'm going to have you all genuflect, and this is what's going to happen. Just hold on. No, that's not how it's going to work. Everybody genuflect to Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament. Keep your eyes on Jesus. You're genuflecting to Jesus. From the front, let's start going. Go, quickly, very, very quickly, go. Make it happen. Is Claire Keck in here? Is Claire Keck here? Young people, when you get over to the PLC, please spread yourselves out, get your snack, go to the bathroom immediately, and make your way back here. Use the restroom very quickly. Thank you for genuflecting. Thank you for walking fast. You can genuflect in your pew beforehand. This is taking way too long. Genuflect in your pew. We love Jesus, but let's go, people. Seriously, get out. We love you. We love you. Jesus loves you even more. That's the most important thing. Parents, as soon as our last young people are leaving, I'm going to ask you to direct your eyes up to the front of the church. If we can have all your parents' attention, if we can drop the music just for a second. Parents, thank you for your patience tonight and dealing with technology is what it is. We learned that during COVID. You can have everything set up for the whole entire, just the best experience in the world, and one thing changes everything. But I think just being here tonight clearly shows the ability to do great things. Very, very thankful for that. No matter where you're at right now, I'm just going to ask you parents, we're going to show a video clip up here. Some of you know about this, some of you do not. But I would be a fool to not take this opportunity right now. In the midst of COVID, we made a decision to not cancel our East Coast Catholic Men's Conference. Jason Evert was a presenter. And we asked Jason to come the night before our men's conference, and he spoke to, I think, 250 or 300 young people. From that COVID Jason Evert event, birthed what is now known as Intense, which is a 3-day experience for your young people. You do not need to ship your kids to Steubenville. You don't need to put your kids on an airplane or on a bus. If you can make it here, you can make it to Intense. Intense is a 3-day powerful Eucharistic experience. We call it Intense because we fly in nationally acclaimed speakers. It's high catechesis, it's a lot of fun, it's a lot of food, and we call it Intense because our young people actually stay in tents. So it's camping. You might say, my kid will never camp. I'm just going to say, your kid should learn how to camp. Jesus lived in a tent.
We live in a constant state of ease.
The Ark of the Covenant lived in a tent. Moses was in a tent. The tent of meeting was a tent. Nonetheless, it is a lot of fun. This will be our 4th year doing this. And I realize, parents, we showed this video to your young people before the event. They don't get young people to events. You do. You are the reason why your young people are here tonight. Very few young people were jumping up and down, being like, I'm going to go to Jason Everett, I want to go to Jason Everett, and drug you here. People ask me all the time, why do we have youth ministry here in Dearborn County? We have youth ministry because we have parents that want youth ministry. That's the only reason. Show you this quick video. I just want to encourage you. I'm just going to tell you, I have seen young people's lives change. I have seen conversion. I have seen families come back to the faith. I have seen this touch parents that then sets a ripple effect. It's an amazing experience. It is an amazing experience. But I'm just going to tell you, I can't get your young people there. You can get your young people there. So sometimes an image speaks 1,000 words. So we're going to let this video speak for itself and move from there.
We live in a constant state of ease. Always moving, always connected. We're strangers to silence, yet we are isolated, lonely, anxious, hopeless. We thirst for something greater, something true. We yearn for a love that's so intense, it seems nothing can fulfill it. Nothing but God.
Hallelujah, I praise the name. It would be great. Okay, awesome. We love you all, but please take your food out of the church. No food or drink. Gentlemen aren't allowed to wear hats either. Love you. Thank you. No food or drink in the church except for water. Adults, can we have someone at the door, please, to make sure that we're taking care of God's house? Thank you.
Never fails me. All my days I've been held in your hand. From the moment that I wake up till I lay my head, I will sing of the goodness of God. 'Cause all my life you have been all my life you have been so, so good. With every breath that I am made, I will sing of the goodness of God. Of the goodness of God.
For us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. St. Joseph, pray for us in the name of the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. Amen. A couple years back, I was speaking at a Catholic high school, and before my talk, one of the teachers got up, and he said to the students, okay, I'm going to give you guys a quote or some lyrics, and I want to see if you know who said that quote. And he starts off with some really bad lyrics from a popular song,